Good day, pupils. I am Mazalia G.C. Saligan. I am here to share with you 5 Aesop Fables. Are you ready? Without further ado, let us take a look at the first fable. But before we proceed to the first fable, let's take a look at the picture shown. What can you see on the cover of the book? Can you name some of the animals you see? What is the title of the book? What do you think the book is going to be about? What kind of characters do you think will be in the book? Our first fable is entitled The Dog Chasing a Wolf. A dog was chasing a wolf, and as he ran he thought what a fine fellow he was, and what strong legs he had, and how quickly they covered the ground.
Now, there's this wolf.
He said to himself.
What a poor creature he is, he's no match for me, and he knows it, and so he runs away.
But the wolf looked round just then and said,
Don't you imagine I'm running away from you, my friend? It's your master I'm afraid of.
And so the dog and the wolf realize that they don't have the same perspective. That is why we should respect others' points of view and understand them. Our second fable is entitled The Dogs and the Hides. Before I tell you the story, I have questions for you. What makes you think this book is going to be interesting? Does this book remind you of anything else you've already read or seen? What do you think is going to happen? Who is the author or illustrator? What do you think this story is about? Think it yourself. Now, let us discover the story. The Dogs and the Hides. Once upon a time some dogs, who were famished with hunger, saw some hides steeping in a river, but couldn't get at them, because the water was too deep. So they put their heads together, and decided to drink away at the river till it was shallow enough for them to reach the hides. But long before that happened they burst themselves with drinking. That's the end of the story. Did you learn something? It was nice, right? There are things in life that we wanted to put effort into and works, but at the end of the day, we cannot change the things that are meant to happen. There are no certain and assured things in this world, but at least we try, and we have hope. Our third fable is entitled The Farmer and His Dogs. I would like to ask you questions once again. What characters do you think might be in the story? What clues are in the title or any picture? What do you already know about the topic of this story? Do you think this story is fiction or non-fiction? Why do you think that? So let us try to find the answers to that questions by reading or listening to the fable. The Farmer and His Dogs. A farmer was snowed up in his farmstead by a severe storm, and was unable to go out and procure provisions for himself and his family. So he first killed his sheep and used them for food. Then, as the storm still continued, he killed his goats. And, last of all, as the weather showed no signs of improving, he was compelled to kill his oxen and eat them. When his dogs saw the various animals being killed and eaten in turn, they said to one another,
"We had better get out of this or we shall be the next to go."
It is the end of the story. It is a sad fable, right? We cannot deny the fact that no one knows what will happen in the future. That is why we need to pray for God's guidance and blessing, because He is the only one who can help us. To the dogs who think that this life will be in danger, they should understand that they are not meats to eat, and the farmer loves them because they are part of the family. Now, let us move on to a fourth fable entitled The Dog and the Cook. Let us take attention to the picture presented. What does the place look like in your head as you read? Would you want to visit there? If the main character in that story lived next door, would you be friends? What facts do you already know about this story? What are you hoping to learn about this story? What do you predict the story will be about? So, let us start to know the story. The Dog and the Cook. A rich man once invited a number of his friends and acquaintances to a banquet. His dog thought it would be a good opportunity to invite another dog, a friend of his, so he went to him and said,
My master is giving a feast. There'll be a fine spread, so come and dine with me tonight.
The dog thus invited came, and when he saw the preparations being made in the kitchen, he said to himself,
My word, I'm in luck. I'll take care to eat enough tonight to last me 2 or 3 days.
At the same time, he wagged his tail briskly, by way of showing his friend how delighted he was to have been asked. But just then the cook caught sight of him, and, in his annoyance at seeing a strange dog in the kitchen, caught him up by the hind legs and threw him out of the window. He had a nasty fall and limped away as quickly as he could, howling dismally. Presently some other dogs met him and said,
Well, what sort of a dinner did you get?
To which he replied,
I had a splendid time. The wine was so good, and I drank so much of it, that I really don't remember how I got out of the house.
Be shy of favors bestowed at the expense of others. And at the end of the story. It is a beautiful story for us, right kids? It shows that putting on a mask will not always give us the freedom on who we want to be. Our true color is so important, and we don't need to pretend to be someone who we are not just to show others, because at the end of the day, what is important is that we are true to ourselves, and to the people we love. Always remember that, kids, okay? Now, our last fable is entitled The Traveler and His Dog. What picture have you had in your mind as you are seeing the cover of the book? How do you feel about the main character? Who do you think are the characters? What lesson do you want to learn from this story? What do you think will happen next? So let's find out. The Traveler and His Dog. A traveler was about to start on a journey and said to his dog, who was stretching himself by the door,
Come, what are you yawning for? Hurry up and get ready. I mean you to go with me.
But the dog merely wagged his tail and said quietly,
I'm ready, master. It's you I'm waiting for.
That's it, it's the end of the stories. Our last fable shows that there will be times in our lives that someone or something is ready, and it will just wait for us until we will be ready. On the other hand, the person who procrastinates often blames the delay on his more active friend. That is why kids need to be always prepared and have a plan. I hope you all will learn from these stories and you will apply them in your lives. Thank you for listening, and always stay safe.